Hello guys, so this is going to be a tutorial about how to get your Laravel application running at the Cloudways. Okay, so first of all, log into your Cloudways account by using the credentials that Dr. Choi has sent you. And then after you get in, select applications and then select. You should only see one, but I created a couple to test with them. I don't want this. Okay, so the bottom one is the one that I just created. So it's gonna have the application URL. So as you can see, a Laravel application is already running without any configuration from you. And then you also have the MySQL access as well as application credentials. So the first thing you're gonna do is to create an application credential. So I'm gonna create a cost of 3 and then give it a password and then just create the credentials. And then after that's done, very importantly, you're going to go to application setting and enable the SSH access. This is how you can actually use your terminal or PuTTY to access the remote server. And it's going to take some time to enable it. So in the meantime, you want to download PuTTY, which you can download it here. If you're on Windows, just select either one of these, or you can use a thing called Git. Well, you can use Git, and then you can just download the Windows version, and then just say after you finish downloading, finish installing, you're gonna have this option, Git Bash. The Git Bash is almost identical to Mac terminal, so for those of you who are using Mac, you can basically use Git Bash. You can use a terminal the same way that I use Git Bash, okay? So now that the application, we enable the SSH access, we can connect it. So in PuTTY, you just input your hostname there, and then you can log in with the credentials that you set. And then at oh, did I put it wrong? Oh, okay, rest. Okay, so yeah, you can connect it. And then in Mac or in Git Bash, you're gonna do post 3 at this IP right here. Okay, so they achieve the same thing. You can run any Linux command on it. Yeah, so this is just a preference. On Windows, I like to use PuTTY, but on Mac, you might want to just... I don't think PuTTY is available on Mac, so you just have to stick with terminal, but it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so now, basically I want to edit those files. So you have two ways to do it. The first way is pretty straightforward. You just open your FileZilla. FileZilla. And then you copy this public IP and then SFTP. And then your username, password, and then click connect, and then you can edit files in the FTP through the FTP client. So you can finish some editing on your local machine and then just upload it and override it. So that's gonna work. Yeah, so that should be pretty straightforward. The other way, the way I like to do it is to use Git. So basically I'm going to initialize a Git repository and then create a remote Git repository so that I can push all of these files into the remote repository. Okay, so I'm going to create a new repository called Laravel test1, and it's very important that you don't initialize the repository. And then basically you want to add a remote So I have to search for the syntax, and then I want to copy this and then follow this command right here. So git remote add origin, add that. Also, this happened to me. When I say git remote add something, it wouldn't let me. It has to do some git config global user.name equal to something. And that wouldn't work because you don't have the proper credentials or something. But just take out the global flag and you should be fine. Yeah, anyway, after that you'll be able to push. So you will say git status. You see a bunch of files are now being staged, so you say git add da, which is add all the files, and then now all the files are being staged, and then you can say git commit with the message test. This is where the arrow comes in. Yeah, so you're gonna say git config user.name Costa, git config user.email, okay, and then now it should allow you to do that. Okay, so you just committed, and then git status should be happy, and now you can say git remote. Again, I had to look for those syntax. So what's it say? Git push origin master. Okay, so I have to input the username and password. I'm a little too lazy for that, so I'm just gonna copy and paste. Okay, so now I've finished, and if I refresh it, I should have everything here. And now I'm gonna clone it to my local machine. So I'm opening my Git Kraken. Also notice this is Dr. Choi's initial instructions for how to build your backend. Notice we don't have to do a bunch of these. For example, yeah, we don't have to Laravel new backend because it's already there. Yeah, in fact, you can just access it right away. But there are something that we need to configure. Okay, so first of all, we need to clone the thing that we just copied. So I'm gonna put it in the test folder, and then just clone the repo, and then it's gonna have everything in here. Okay, and then basically I have to follow some steps. First of all, I need to edit the database credentials. Notice it doesn't. Notice you should not edit your credentials here, because what really matters is on the cloud server. So you should go to your PuTTY or terminal and nano.env. Notice you can use ls to see all the files. Well, see the visible files, but also you can use ls-a to show all the files. So that's gonna also show you this file in particular, and this is gonna you're gonna put your MySQL credentials in there. So we're gonna say nano.env, and then we go to our Cloudway and then copy the database name, as well as the password name. Well, the password. And then I just say yes. Okay, and after that, so this is being configured. Okay, and now basically we look at the we download is this the one? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's this one. So just drag it here. Use my Visual Studio Code to open the test folder. And then just sort of follow the steps. Okay. So first of all, find this files. And then go to my database migration. Paste it there. And then go to the backend, cd backend, composer. We don't really know, we don't need to do this because all the dependencies is already being installed. And then replace that, yeah, so that's also something we need to do, the app service provider. And then, okay, where is that? That's app providers, app service providers. I just replace the file. What else? Run PHP artisan migrate. Okay, so this is where you start to make a commit. So you stage all the changes, add migrations, and then you say push. And then go back here and then say git pull. There's no tracking information. I think that have done the job. So we'll just try to, we'll just see. So I'm gonna do PHP artisan migrate and see what happened. Oh, yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case. As you can see, you only create I only create the user table and the password reset table, which is not quite what I want. So what I would do is to go to the database here and then drop all of those tables. And then something went wrong. So I'm gonna say git fetch origin. Let's try that, and then git pull. Okay, I have to specify a name. Git pull origin master. Okay, so that worked. And then we'll just say, yeah, because you see his instruction is git pull remote, which is origin, and then branch, which is master. So I just inputted this, and it worked. And now I should be able to do PHP artisan migrate. Aha. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. So now, as you can see, the entries table has been created. So that's nice. And then, yeah, so we should still be able to access it. That is fine. And then we keep following his instructions. Okay, yeah, you should see an entries table. I'll put a couple in the entries. So I'm just gonna go in there, new item, user ID 1, and then save. Okay, put a couple entries, go back to the... Yeah, so we don't need to do this, and we don't need to do this, because it's already being run. Let's see. Yeah, and then a couple more thing. We have to go to the... Let's see. Now we copy the entry PHP into backend app, and then also entries controller to here, and then web.php to routes. So I just replace them. And yeah, this is the front end stuff. I'm not gonna worry about the front end stuff too much. Yeah, and also this, in order to make the backend API readable by a web browser, you need to do the steps. Yeah, so I have to execute this on the server. So yeah, so that's gonna download the Laravel course package on the server. So yeah, we have to wait for a little bit. Okay, so that seems to do the job. And then we need to edit the files. So that's in the backend app, HTTP kernel. Oh yeah, we can just add it here. Let's see, app HTTP kernel, and then yeah, I'm just gonna see the documentation. Oh yeah, never mind, it's the same thing. Yeah, so you just add it here. Oops. Save it. And then yeah, also another thing that you need to comment out is this. If you don't comment out this, you might run into trouble. Okay, and now you're gonna make another commit. Set up Laravel application, and then make a push, and then go to your console and say git pull origin master. Okay, and now let's hope it magically works. That's exactly what we want, because there's nothing defined for the root URL. As you can see, yeah, nothing has been defined, so we want it to look like this. And now we should be able to say entries, and yeah, we have our API running on the cloud. So yeah, that should be pretty cool. And also, yeah, I just want to make sure the front end still runs correctly. So I don't have have the blog entries example running. I just have my local version or of some sort running. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is to in my index.view, I'm gonna import Axios. And now I'm gonna do a created, meaning whenever we open the page, we're going to call the function. So we're gonna see, let's see, where's Dr. Choi's email? Yeah, so he has app.view with some Axios function calls, and then we're going to do this. Okay. So instead of that, we're going to say that URL. Let's see, yeah. Yeah, we just want to console log the response to show that we can actually receive the data. Self is assigned. Okay, never mind. Yeah. And is this right? Yeah. And as you can see, we have made a successful fetch request, and this data should contain exactly the data that's being shown here, right? Yeah, so the the API thing works on the cloud, and then yeah, it should be pretty straightforward, and then you can use Git to commit and communicate. Personally, again, you can still do all of these with FileZilla. You can just modify little files and then push it to, just drag it to the cloud server. But I wouldn't really recommend that just because it's very easy to mess up, and with Git, it's much easier. And even if you mess up something, you can always roll back to history. So everything should be a lot easier. Yeah, so that'll be it. Good luck.